Hello, 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 hello. It's a beautiful Saturday afternoon, and I am trying to give a shout out to all my subscribers and to celebrate you all for supporting me and, helping me grow on my channel. I have decided to come and tell my story, my motherhood story. So I will just take a few minutes to wait for people to join. While I am waiting, I think I can read a book or a passage. Yeah. So one of my favorite books, it was given to me as a gift by one of my friends, Mom's Night Out and Other Things I Miss. So I'm just waiting. I'm just using this to wait for more people to join me here, and then I'll begin. I'll start telling my story. Hi. Thank you for stopping by, everyone who is watching. Okay, so today I just want to tell a story about my motherhood journey. This is me trying to give a shout out as well to all my subscribers on this channel. Thank you for helping me grow so far. And while I'm getting ready to tell my story and waiting for more people to join this live, I want to read one of my favorite books. So I'm reading from this chapter, I'm Not Fat, I'm Pregnant. I think every motherhood journey starts with pregnancy. So one thing I like about this author, Kerry Pomaroli, she has a way of inserting Bible portions into every chapter of the book. So I'm reading, I'm Not Fat, I'm Pregnant. And then there's a Bible quote just after the heading. Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. That is from Proverbs 31 verse 30. If you haven't seen the movie Mom's Night Out, you have to see it. Angela Johnson is in it and is wonderful. This is the story of the night we met when I was pregnant. I started showing when I was about 3 minutes into the pregnancy. When I was about 3 months pregnant, I was asked to perform for 2 nights at a comedy showcase in Hollywood. I was feeling pretty good about myself until I see this tiny, adorable girl of about 23 walking. I couldn't even hate her because she was being nice to me and telling me how I had inspired her as a clean comic. So she's not only cute and thin, she's a clean comic too. It gets worse. She proceeds to tell me she does Christian events. I thought I was the hot chick of the Christian comics. Now she wants to come steal my throne. I knew this day would come, but who could prepare me? She had just moved to Los Angeles and now was up for a movie role with Forest Whitaker. Academy Award winner Forest Whitaker. The show started and I went out and did my act and was feeling pretty good about my pregnancy that nicely fit into my comedy routine. Then Angela comes out and kills it. My husband had to stop for donuts on the way home to calm my nerves. It worked for like 2 minutes, and then I was back to my monologue about how much skinnier Angela was than me. My husband finally had it and yelled, "You were pregnant, silly." I responded, "So she's prettier and hotter than me, and you want her for your hot wife, don't you?" He shoved a donut in my face and I fell asleep eating it. I woke up the next morning bound and determined to be skinny again, which meant my size 4 skinny jeans. I grabbed those jeans and attempted to put them on. I thought of smearing Crisco oil on my belly, but I decided there had to be a better way. I had a Mark Diva moment. So I took a rubber band and twirled it around the button on my jeans and looped it in the buttonhole to make a sort of bridge so the pants would not button but would be pulled together. Did this cut off my circulation? Yes. But more importantly, did I look good in those jeans? Yes. Breathing is overrated anyway. Angela opened the show that next day with another sassy performance. I decided we could be friends after the baby came. Finally, it was my turn. I was getting big laughs and I felt good. I was back into my routine and I decided to go for my big Pilates joke, which required some special physical comedy moves. The big finale was a kick in the air. I told the punchline, and as my leg was rising in the air, all I could hear was a smack and pop. Then I see the rubber band around the button of my jeans fly off into the air and onto the floor in front of me. It was a huge, bright pink thing. And when it went flying, it appeared to come from my belly button. I should also mention that my jeans quickly started to slide down my thighs because my huge pot pregnant belly was now protruding. in a way that no one could ignore. I looked like a can of Pillsbury dough that was just opened and the dough started spreading everywhere. I had a mic in one hand, and there was no way the other hand was going to be able to save my jeans from falling down, which would have quickly made this an R-rated show. I thought to myself, Carrie, you're pregnant and you've got to face it. You're also a comedian and you can use this situation to your advantage. I announced to the audience, "Oh, if you didn't notice, I'm not fat. I'm just pregnant." Okay, let me stop here so that I won't keep wasting time reading and reading. But like I said, this is one of my favorite books. I want to talk about my motherhood journey, and I just wanted to start by reading this book while I wait for people to join me. So my name is Jiro and this is Jiro Planet. Thank you every one of my subscribers. You've helped me grow. I think I have over 200 subscribers right now. I mean, it's been 8 months in this journey of, trying to get my body back, trying to lose all the baby weight. But one of the reasons I like to read this book is because it tends to address some of the insecurities that women feel when they're pregnant. So like I said, every journey to motherhood starts with pregnancy. Oh, well, yeah. Start with pregnancy, whether you're the one that carried the pregnancy or you got a surrogate or you adopted the baby, every journey to motherhood starts with pregnancy. And so begins my story. I got married sometime in 2019, and a couple of months later, I got pregnant with my first child, a baby girl. I like to call it an easy pregnancy for me because as at this time, I was not staying in the same state with my husband. We're both Nigerians, even though presently I'm in Europe, but we were living in Nigeria at the time. So we were not living in the same state at all when I was pregnant with my first baby. And I like to call it an easy pregnancy for me because I was doing everything by myself. I went to the market, I cooked, I went to work. And then that pregnancy went on smoothly. Even when I went into labor, he was not at home. That was on June 12, 2020. I went into labor and then I had to call some of my friends, even my landlady at the time. She came to the door because apparently my husband had called her to come and check on me. I went into labor around 3 a.m. and oh my goodness. I went into labor around 3 a.m. and you know how contractions come and then they give you some respite and they come harder, they give you some respite. So I was going through the phase of early contractions and then I decided, okay, it was time for me to just take a shower before I dilate any further. So I went into the shower, took a bath, and then got dressed slowly. I never knew a day would come and I would spend almost 1 whole hour in the shower. So I took a shower and then I got ready to go to the hospital in preparation to have my first baby. I couldn't wait to meet her. Like I said, my husband was away in a different city where he worked, and I was in a different city as well. And then I got to the hospital around 7 a.m. or thereabouts. And while I was busy, I think by the time I got to the hospital, I had dilated up to about 6 centimeters. That was what the doctor told me, that I had dilated 6 centimeters. So my friend was with me. We quickly went into the ward. She got all the things that the nurses asked her to get. And then I kept dilating from about 8 a.m. till about 3 p.m. That's when my husband arrived. I was still in the journey of dilation. And then as soon as he arrived, about 15 minutes later, we were ushered into the labor room, and then I had my first child. So like I said, it was quite uneventful. There were no complications. Okay. Yeah, the only thing I know I experienced with my first pregnancy is that I fell down at one particular day when I was 7 months pregnant. I fell down, but I was able to get up by myself as well. Then I went to the hospital to get checked. I carried out a scan, and then, they told me that my baby was still fine. I was fine, nothing broken, nothing missing. And so I went back home. And the first pregnancy came and went. Then I got pregnant again. And this particular pregnancy, for the first time, I found myself in a hospital. Because the previous night, I think that was around August or September, I realized I could not eat. And then just the following morning, I just felt like, somebody, those of us who grew up in Nigeria might understand what I'm trying to explain here. It was as though there was this generator coil that was being wound around my belly button, and then someone dragged it. So at this point, I felt intense pain. My brother who was at home, my husband was not there still. My brother who was at home with me found a way to drive me down to the hospital, and then I was admitted. I took about 8 different injections and about 3 bags of rehydration therapy packed with antibiotics. That was for my second pregnancy. And then at that point, I decided, okay, I need to go for a scan to see what was going on inside, my womb. At the same time, I wanted to know the sex of the baby because I already had a female child. My husband was not pressurizing me for a male child, but I wanted to be sure of the sex of the baby. I'm always curious. So I took the next scan, and then the sonographer told me that I was carrying a baby boy, and maybe that's why he's giving me so much stress. So I got better, and then eventually around on the 6th of January 2022, I had my baby boy. Even though this time around, I was dilating, but I did not know. I was not feeling any contractions. At this time, I started my business. I was actually on my computer writing for somebody, and my friend called me and said, Jiro, is it not time to give birth to your baby? I said, I don't know. I'm not feeling any labor pains. I'm not feeling any contractions. So I guess I'll just keep waiting. She said, no, Jiro, stand up. No matter what you're doing right now, stand up and go to the hospital. I think this baby should have been here by now. And if he's not here by now, then he should be on the way. I got to the hospital and then carried out a scan. The doctor checked for dilation, and I was already about 4 cm dilated. The doctor told me to go home and come back. I told her, well, my house is very far away from this hospital, and I don't think I should go and come back. Maybe I should just stay here, in case I dilate further in the night. So I decided to stay. My stubbornness paid off eventually, and I was allowed to stay in the hospital. By morning, I was still 4 cm dilated. So I was not making any progress at all. I decided to start walking around, I decided to start walking around in case it could help out in any way. And I was there throughout that day. And the doctor said to me, if I come back and you've not progressed, then I have to induce labor. That'll be the first time I'm hearing about inducing labor. So, like I already said, my first pregnancy was very easy. So for this one, labor was induced, and then that was when the real contractions came. The next day, I had my baby at around noon. That was for the second pregnancy. By the time I got to the third, a lot of things were wrong with me. My health was suffering, and I did not know. I had insulin resistance, but I was there after every meal. I would go grab a bottle of soda or a can of malt drink. I was just having serious sugar cravings, and I did not understand why. So I would go to my neighbor after eating every meal. Please give me a can of malt. Please give me a can of malt. Okay, if you don't have malt, please give me a bottle of Fanta. Please give me a bottle of this. I was always running after sugar. And then you can see that my face does not have any spots right now or any breakouts. When I was pregnant with my third child, I was having severe acne breakouts. And I don't know what was causing it. I was telling myself, okay, maybe it's the, pregnancy hormones and everything in my body not being all right because of pregnancy. But I realized there was a deeper issue. Even my dad was telling me that if he looks at my pictures, like when I was pregnant on my first, these kind of things were not on my face. With my second, I did not have this kind of thing, but he's wondering why my face is like this. And there's something I've not mentioned here. I'm not the kind of woman that goes to the hospital for antenatal visits. I thought about it as a waste of time. Like, okay, so if I go and you give me the prenatal vitamins, I'll just go home and eat and just get ready to, keep nurturing my baby. But hello, good afternoon. Welcome to my live. So I'm just here trying to celebrate, my subscribers. And at the same time, I'm trying to tell my story, my motherhood story. So, like I said, I never had any acne breakouts in my 2 previous pregnancies, but when I got to the third, a lot of things became wrong. I was having serious breakouts. I was having excessive sugar cravings. And then by the 6th month, now I don't also have morning sickness. The first 3 months, I just go through the phase like it's nothing. But color me shocked when by the time I got to the 6th month of my third pregnancy, I started throwing up. Anything I eat comes out from my mouth. And I was wondering what was wrong with me. Every time I go to throw up, it would be like everything in my intestine wants to come out. So I kept wondering, I kept praying for myself because this particular pregnancy had me going for antenatal visits. And then whenever I feel like something is wrong in my body, I run back to the hospital. The hospital was quite close to the house. There was this particular day I felt pains around my pelvic region. And when I went to the hospital, the doctor was telling me, well, it's ligamentary pains, they're normal. And then she asked me if I was being stressed. I told her, well, I'm a writer, I'm a translator. Yeah, I'm from the Igbo speaking part of Nigeria, so I often get translation jobs, maybe from multinational companies that want to translate from English to Igbo just, to reach. And they also had Yoruba translators. So I told her, well, I'm a writer, I'm a translator. So these are the things that occupy my time. At the same time, I teach English language privately to students. And then the doctor told me, well, I think I would recommend you take a bed rest. So for 1 week, go on bed rest. And then after that, I would suggest that you start taking a walk. Hi, Gem Gist. Thank you so much for your comment. I appreciate. So the doctor told me to, sorry for that break. The doctor told me to rest a bit and then I should make sure that I start taking walks in the evenings or in the mornings just to help my body. And then there is me. I will take my walks. But then when I come back and take my dinner, I will go and carry a bottle of soda again. And it was like, what's wrong? If it's my people, they will say, this must be village people. So I kept on doing that. It was really a very difficult pregnancy for me. I will start feeling serious palpitations. And then I continued managing. When labor came, in fact, my water broke for the first time since I started having children. My water broke while I was taking my shower, and then I told my husband. He was around, so I told him. They took me to the hospital. I was in the hospital throughout that day until the next day. And then they had to come and induce labor over again. I mean, this is someone that has gone through that process before, and I'm going through it again. At a point, I was even trying to tell them to, do an emergency C-section because I was tired. I kept telling my mom that I'm very tired. I thought I was going to die. So is that, but I thought I was going to give up because it was becoming very laborious for me. So she kept encouraging me. People called and prayed for me. And then eventually the baby came out. It was very dramatic. It was very dramatic. I did not make it to the labor ward. I was still in the maternity ward on my bed. I could not make it to the labor ward before I screamed and told my mom, "Mommy, see my baby's head." And then I just could not wait for them anymore. The nurses had left the room. They were, talking somewhere. So I just had to drop the baby for them in the maternity ward. And that was where they came and cleaned me up, took my baby, took care of her before bringing her back. And now for the first time since I started getting pregnant and having children, I could not walk by myself to the car. So you see that a lot of things had gone wrong with my body. I was very sick and I did not know it. I thought I was going to really pass on from giving birth to my third child. But I'm here today to tell my story and to encourage other mothers. Because there's something my dad said to me, which, when I look at it in retrospect, I think my lifestyle contributed a lot to how much I suffered. And so that's why I'm dedicating this channel to helping other moms, new moms, or you've been a mom before, and a lot of things, you're asking yourself questions. This is me. I often tell people who care to listen, I don't know why it's hanging, maybe network. I often tell people who care to listen that for someone like me who was grossly indisciplined when it comes to eating. Now, I'm not saying I eat a lot of food. No. That's not what I'm saying. But you see things like biscuit and milk, for example. And when I want to take hot chocolate, I don't take one spoon and put it inside water. No. I have to take about 5 of that and make sure that it's so creamy. And then I'll put some powdered milk and I'll make sure it's really, really creamy. And then for me, I felt, okay, I was enjoying myself. I did not know I was really causing a lot of harm inside my body. So you see, motherhood, pregnancy started bringing out all these things. And that coupled with the fact that I'm insulin resistant, or let me say I used to be, because right now with my current lifestyle, I think I'm becoming more insulin sensitive. I can say that because I work out. If you go through my channel, you see a lot of workout videos. I'm just trying to sit down now and tell my story so that people will know why I got into what I'm doing right now. This is me trying to film my progress, trying to show other moms that we can do this, we can take charge of our health. We can take our health into our hands. Now, after I had my baby, I never got well for a very, very long time. For a very, very long time, I was sick. I could not nurse my baby. I could not breastfeed her for more than a month. My body was going through severe trauma and I did not know. And then it got to a particular day. I was going to the hospital. I was coming back. Nothing. They were giving me higher and higher dosage of malaria medicine in the hospital. And then I had a dream one night. I'm a Christian, so and yeah, my t-shirt says Jesus. So I had a dream this night, and two women were talking about me, and they said, is this how this woman died? And they were talking about me. And I told my husband, look, I'm not going back to that particular hospital. We have to go to a different hospital. We have to use a different hospital. I'm not going back to this particular hospital. Our children were so stressed. My postpartum season was crazy. We were always, most mornings before 7 a.m., we're out of the house. Kids have not had breakfast, but my husband was trying all he could to make sure that, his wife is okay. There was something he told me. He told me that this particular pregnancy really scared him, that he thought he was going to lose me. So we left that hospital, and then a family friend of ours directed us to a different hospital owned by a Philippine woman. And then it's a walk-in hospital. They don't admit patients. So one look at me and then a brief diagnosis. The doctor told me I had stomach ulcer, gastrointestinal ulcer. And I think it was contributing to the general way I was feeling. So gave me some medication and, told me what to do. And she also warned me about my blood sugar, because she said it seems my sugar level might be high. And she asked me if any of my grandparents or my parents were diabetic. And I remember that my maternal grandmother had diabetes in old age. So I told her, yes, that, my maternal grandmother had diabetes in old age. And she advised me to be careful and to make adjustments in my lifestyle. But this is me. I love bread. If I tell those those on my other social media platforms, I won victory. I won the battle against bread. I won the battle against bread. I won the battle against biscuit. There's this particular brand of biscuit. I don't want to mention their name so that it won't look like, I'm trying to maybe slander them or give them a bad name, but I loved this particular brand of biscuit. I was crazy about it. In fact, the day I had Braxton Hicks contraction with this third pregnancy, I had I had about 2 of that biscuit in my bag. So that's how much I loved this particular biscuit. Now, the doctor told me to make adjustments in my lifestyle to avoid getting diabetic at some point. I thought it was a joke. And now I kept eating bread. When I go to the store, when I go to Costco, or I go to any of the stores around here, I'll go straight for bread. I'll go for biscuits. I'll buy drinks, the sugary ones. I'll buy, I just had this funny dietary lifestyle of eating rubbish. Let me just call it rubbish. I had the dietary lifestyle of eating absolute rubbish. So I'll go for bread, I'll go for biscuits, I'll go for soda pops. It was not good for me. The doctor had already told me to watch it, and I was just here doing whatever I liked with my life. And then this morning came, January 28th of this year. I was sleeping, and then I woke up. My heart was pounding. Seriously, my heart was pounding, and I was drenched in my own sweat. I was drenched in my own sweat. And then I sat down. I had to take water first. And then I sat down and I spoke to myself. And I told myself, Jiro, you cannot continue eating the way you eat and think that your life, your health is going to turn around. That was the day I decided, number one, I'll begin to work out seriously. Number two, I'll begin to eat right. I'll begin to eat clean. I'll begin to eat. In fact, I'm not just eating clean, I'm eating sparkling clean. Because for 3 months straight, I did not take any kind of, in fact, I've stopped taking sugar, refined sugar completely. So for 3 months straight, I decided to rewire my taste buds. So I removed sugar and I removed salt. I'm not saying that salt is bad, but for the time being, I just had to cut back on it. So I removed sugar, I removed salt, and then I started working out every day. I talk about low impact workout a lot on my channel. Dear mom, dear postpartum mom, start where you are. I was not really a workout enthusiast. I was not interested in, moving my body intentionally, but I had to sit myself down and I talked to myself. And now whoever will come across this video, if you're a mom or you are trying to become one, or for some reason you are not where you are in your fitness goals, or your health has taken a nosedive, I'm here to tell you that sitting in front of you is someone that used to be very careless about her life. I say it again. I used to be very careless about my life. I used to be very careless about my health. But January 28th, 2025, I told myself, Jiro, this has to change for good. So I started working out. I started with low impact workouts. I would wake up in the morning. I would do modified jumping jacks. I would do a few squats, move my body intentionally. Now, nobody says that. What I tell people is that you cannot work out with the same intensity every day. You cannot work out with the same intensity every day. So your workout, there will be days that you do intense workouts. There will be days where you take it easy on your body so that you don't break down. So those days, we call those days easy days. Your easy days could just be 5 minutes of intentional movements. Easy day. And then your intense days could be 30 minutes. You're using, for someone like me, I make use of improvised dumbbells. Because, my darling, I had to ask for the price of regular dumbbells, and I was told 150 euros. And I'm asking myself, well, I'm a student here, and I'm not that rich yet, even though I'm looking forward to becoming that rich. So unless I see it maybe in a second-hand store, then maybe I can buy it at a cheaper rate. So I started doing my workouts. From low impact workouts, I started including better resistance with improvised dumbbells. So if you go through my channel, if you see this video and maybe you go through my channel, you'll see that I have a couple of low impact workouts, especially the ones I was doing in January, February. I think around March I started, or around February, I can't remember anymore. But I know that at some point I using 1 liter water bottles. I'll just put water inside, and then I progressed to 2 liter water bottles. I started with water inside them, but right now I put sand in it. So there is no. I want to tell you that there is no excuse. There is no excuse to hold you back if you're determined to work on your body, not just working on your body, on your health. Now let me say this quickly. I was telling I don't remember who I was telling. Who was I telling? I was telling somebody. I know I was taking a walk with someone. I can't remember right now off the top of my head, but I was telling her that I never saw any of my grandparents, my grandmoms especially. Now, my paternal grandmother had 10 children, even though she had 7 surviving eventually, but I mean, she went through 10 pregnancies and childbirth. 10. My maternal grandmother, 9, if I'm not mistaken. And none of them were fat. I mean, my paternal grandmother was very slim until she passed on. My maternal grandmother, eventually she added a lot of weight when she became sedentary. So right now, what I'm driving at is the fact that our mothers, our grandmothers, our great-grandmothers, even my great-grandmother, I saw her picture when she was very old. She was not fat. And when she was younger, she was also not fat. Let us face it. Being on the big side comes with a lot of health challenges. And I'm not saying it because I am slim, I'm very tiny, or I've gotten to where I want to get to in my fitness goals. No. I'm saying it because I used to carry a lot of weight and I know how my health suffered. So I'm saying this from experience. Being on the big side comes with a lot of health challenges. So about our grandmothers and great-grandmothers, they were always busy. And like I said, being busy, they were always in the farm. They would go to the farm in the morning, they would work until high noon, they would go home and rest. Then in the evening or something, they will go back, do a bit of work, and they will go home. And what's more, their feeding habits. My dad said this to me. He said my great-grandmother, that's his own grandmother, every Friday, she will cook a pot of soup that had no salt in it. And they will all eat it. No salt. Again, there were no MSGs, like all these artificial ones now. It's very possible to have your own kind of native spice. And especially when you have stuff like these fermented spice that we use in cooking. The Igbos call it ogiri. And I know that the Yorubas from Nigeria call it okpeyi. They have this iru. And there's another Igbo speaking part of Nigeria that has the one we call okpeyi. So these are native spices that our grandmothers or great-grandmothers were making use of in preparing food for the family. So my own great-grandmother, every Friday of every week, she would cook food without salt, and everybody would eat and go to bed. And they were not eating the kind of things we eat. They were not eating noodles. And then I want to say this to you categorically. You can take it or leave it. The sooner you remove noodles from your diet, the better. The sooner you removed noodles from your diet, the better. I'm not going to say more than that. Because you see, all these low fiber foods, they are the leading cause of what do they call it now? Of gastrointestinal problems. You're having colon issues, you're having gastrointestinal ulcer, you're having a lot of things. Your food does not digest properly and you're eating noodles. These are some of the things our grandmothers, our great-grandmothers never ate. So the sooner you remove noodles from your diet, the better. In fact, I've stopped eating noodles, I stopped eating pasta, I stopped eating bread. I packed all those things and put them in one compartment. I called it the unhealthy food cabinet, because as at the time I decided to make changes, to make positive changes in my lifestyle, I had a lot of them. In fact, my pasta is still here. The next week I bought is still there, and some other things. But I did that so that I will not come under the temptation of trying to go to eat them. But now, 8 months down the line, I can look at it. I can go somewhere and they're serving cake and drinks, or biscuit and drinks, or whatever, and I will not take out of it. In fact, one pastor was telling me, so if you don't eat this, you don't eat that, so what do you eat? What do you eat? So I think that will be the topic of my next live video. Maybe tomorrow I'll come again and talk about what I've been eating for the past 8 months. I hope I can remember everything. I'm going to list them so that if anyone is watching and is interested in taking them down, I would talk about it. But for one, I made sure that I focused on gut healthy food. Of course, I had gastrointestinal issues, gut issues, so I had to focus on that. But even if you don't have gut issues, you can always eat something that can help your gut. In fact, about 2 weeks ago, I think that was when I finished the last part of my sauerkraut. I'm looking forward to making another batch when I have time. Because like I said, I'm a student, so studies, you have your test, you have essays to write, and you have group work to submit. So sometimes there isn't enough time to prepare some of these things. But I take Greek yogurt, and then I also take almond nuts. The way I eat my almonds, I soak them in water and allow it to become soft so that my intestine can handle it. Because like I always say, working out is about just 30% of what you need to get your body, your postpartum body, back to what it used to be. Workout is just 30%. The great majority is the greater percentage rather is your lifestyle, your food, your dietary discipline. So like I said, I think I went a whole month without eating rice. I went 1 whole month without eating rice. And I was happy. Eventually, when I started eating rice, I would swallow it. So that, that digestion of carbohydrates starts with the saliva. When the enzymes in your mouth act on it, they break it down to sugar. And I was telling a friend of mine, when she was telling me, I eat nuts, that the nut I'm eating, is it not like the rice? I told her, how? Nuts, number one, they contain a lot of nutrients. They are packed with nutrients. Some of them are packed with antioxidants. And some of them have high fiber content that help your digestion. So you can't compare it with rice. And then they contain healthy fat. I'll say it again, fat is good. What the kind of fat you don't need It's the kind of fat that comes from overused groundnut oil. In fact, if you can avoid seed oils completely, do that. If you can avoid seed oil, do that. You can use olive oil, coconut oil. But you see all these seed oils, if you can avoid them, better for you. But if you can't, when you use something like rapeseed oil to fry maybe something like chicken, which is to fry meat, it shouldn't go back to the fire. It shouldn't go back to the fire. If it goes back to the fire and you consume what you use it to prepare, you are endangering your body. Nobody has wondered why most of our grandparents, great-grandparents lived 104, some 114, some 120. In fact, there's still a woman in my compound in the village. That woman should be about 110 years old now, if I'm not mistaken. 110 years old. And her husband also lived that long. I think my grandpa died at the age of 96. That's about the earliest. No, he's not the earliest. But I mean, if you're placing it side by side with those that have really lived long, that's like the earliest. Because 96 is just four years away from 100. So longevity is something that we should aspire to. And we can help ourselves achieve it by eating right. A lot of kidney cases now, a lot of different health issues. And then you're asking yourself, you can't inhale something like kidney failure. You can't inhale it. It's from food. You can't inhale liver cirrhosis, for example. You can't inhale it. It's from food. You don't inhale high blood pressure. It's from food. You don't inhale colon cancer. You get it from your dietary lifestyle. I mean, you don't even inhale ulcer, gastrointestinal ulcer, like the type I was diagnosed with. You get it from your dietary lifestyle. And if you're falling sick because of your food, it simply means you're not eating right. It simply means you're not eating right. So, like I said, the first pregnancy might have been easy for me because I'd not had any child before that one. So it was very easy peasy, just carry your big belly around and then you go and offload the baby. By the time I got to number 2, it was becoming more tedious. By the time I got to number 3, everything had gone bonkers in my body. So right now I am on this journey to recovery. Like I always say, I'm not yet where I want to be, especially with regard to my goal weight. But I can tell you that I'm not where I used to be for a fact. I can tell you that for a fact that I'm not where I used to be. So this is my story in a nutshell. And in my next live video, I don't know if I'll come live tomorrow, but I have the time maybe. If not, whenever I come, maybe I'll try and come tomorrow. Tomorrow is Sunday. Maybe in the night I'll come and talk about the things I've been eating since I stopped wounding my body with unhealthy stuff. You see all this refined flour, refined sugar. I was talking about refined sugar the other day, and somebody in my comments, I was talking about refined sugar while working out the other day, and somebody in my comments was telling me that refined sugar is in everything I eat. And I was wondering if this person is in my kitchen. So you see, like I said on that video, when I eventually saw his comments, there is no refined sugar in your organic food. Eat organic food. Even the rice that, I don't eat every day. Throughout this week, I've eaten rice once. That was on Monday in my friend's house. Initially, I was planning to boil rice, but I remember that eating rice on Monday. So I just said, okay, let me leave it until next week. So you can go a whole week without eating rice and you'll be fine. For the most part, you can eat your proteins. You can eat sweet potatoes because they're high in fiber. You can also eat some Irish potato, especially if your blood sugar is already high. Don't eat sweet potato that much. But if you don't have high blood sugar, I think sweet potato is very good because it digests easily and it has high fiber content. So in fact, I think on a general note, you should stick to complex carbohydrates, because all these stuff like rice, carbs, your body does not make use of carbs. They store carbs. So you want to reduce the amount of carbs in your storage. Your body, I'll repeat it, your body does not break down carbs. Your body stores carbs, converts them to sugar. So if you want to be on the safe side, the less carbohydrates you eat, the better. Especially if you are sedentary. These days I enjoy looking at my face because I'm not where I used to be. And it's a thing of joy. And that is why I want to share it with anyone who cares to listen. You can take your health back. You can get your body back. You can avoid unhealthy food. You can eat clean. I mean sparkling clean. You can avoid going to the hospital. As you know, it's not like maybe there won't be anything that will take you every once in a while, but I mean going to the hospital frequently, you can avoid that. And that is my testimony today. I went through 3 pregnancies. I survived in spite of how bad my health used to be. I can say used to be because my health is not that bad right now. Even as someone that was diagnosed with gastrointestinal ulcer, these days I can go. Before I could not eat only twice a day. Before I could not even eat any light meal and say, okay, the next one, no. So ulcer can go, and then there is healing also in the name of Jesus. There's this healing that comes with prayer. What you want, you ask of the Most High, and He'll do it for you. All right. Until I come your way next time, my name is Jiro, and this is Jiro Planet. And here, I say this is a planet of healthy moms. Not just moms anyway, any other person, but there's a reason I've shared my story, because I'm trying to encourage other mothers like myself. So when I say this is a planet of healthy moms, please don't take it personal. This is a planet of healthy people where we encourage one another to, stay healthy, stay fit. And as much as possible, eat right. All right, until I come your way again, stay good.